friends, Nibs again. Wanted to get out to the garage and hopefully finish up this restoration on this Weihrauch HW70, little restoration, little conservation, I guess you could call it. I did. It's never going to be a showpiece, but it's definitely looks a lot better than it was, and I'm actually pretty pleased with the outcome. And as long as I can get it back together without you know, tearing up the paint too bad, it ought to be a nice lasting little cleanup that I did for this guy. So the main piece here was you know, the barrel. If you remember from the disassembly, it was pretty bad. It actually was, it was worse than I thought it was going to be. Underneath the paint, the aluminum was pitted pretty good. I did some draw filing and a good bit of sanding. I didn't have to take a whole lot of material off, but I did get it down to where the pitting was gone. It is a pretty thick aluminum shroud around that steel liner, so I was able to get almost all of the pitting out. There still is a couple little spots you can see if you look at it really close. But for what I was looking for out of it, it really does look pretty nice. So I'm gonna show you guys how to put this back together again, hopefully. Let's see here again. So my first video, I do apologize. My centering of my main camera on where I was working wasn't all the greatest, so I'll try to do a little bit better this time. I hope you guys did appreciate the second view out there. I thought it kind of helped out, especially with my not being in perfect view with the main camera. One of the other pieces that I really didn't notice right off the bat, I thought it would just had a little bit of dirt or smudge on it, but it was the safety knob is actually an aluminum piece as well, and that had the same type of corrosion as the barrel. So and then the final piece here was the end of the air tube, and it was, so this little discoloration here is actually a pin, so that's not, but it was pretty tarnished up here, and I think that ended up, as soon as I started rubbing it with some brass wool, the paint came right off, so I ended up having to, I didn't paint back here, I just cleaned up here and scuffed it back a little bit, and I blended it in just from about here forward, and it really turned out pretty nice. There's still a little bit of discoloration in the paint back here, but for the age of the gun and for what it's going to be used for, I really am pleased with the way it came out. So, but let me turn on this other camera here out in front. Get that one rolling, and we'll get you guys looking at the bench top here, and we'll get this guy put back together. So I painted this with Rust-Oleum satin black. Like I said, I did require quite a bit of sanding from the barrel forward, even around the outside of the sight hood, but surprisingly inside the sight hood was super clean, and inside the barrel especially was super clean. I did tape off where the breech seal is and where the detent knob for the barrel goes, and I did put a little piece of tape around the muzzle so that would not be harmed in any way. And then I actually put some tape inside the back and front of the sight globe. Let me see if I can get those those out with my fingers. Yeah, there we go. Maybe I might need pliers for that, but the main reason I did that, it's gonna be tough to show you, but I had already painted the center post of the sight globe with some of my orange nail polish to give me a better sight picture. So, all right, so let's get this going back together. I think the first thing we would want to do is reattach this cocking lever. I'm pretty sure this pin should just fall right in there. May need a little tap. Where's my, there it is. A little tap with the punch. Yeah, don't like the way that's torquing. Let me get my, support that a little better. Now the next thing, got these two bearing washers that were in the side there, and so one side of them, if you feel the edge of the inside edge, it's very smooth, and if you feel the other one, there's almost like a sharp edge on that. That sharp edge needs to go in towards the center. At least that's the way they came out. And then the same thing on this one. You just feel along the edge, and you can, this one's nice and smooth, your finger will run over it very smooth, and then the other side is, there's just a little edge, you can feel that kind of knife edge, and that goes again towards the center, the barrel side of this assembly. And we start working that back into there we go. So again, I like this crescent. It has, you can use interchangeable bits with it, 1/4 inch size bits, but it has pretty good size flat blades that have nice hollow ground edges on them, so you won't bang up your screws, which is what you're really looking for in a good bit for gunsmithing screwdriver. Is that not coming through yet? Let me see here. There, I got it started. Had to apply a little bit of downward pressure on the barrel to overcome the detent spring to allow that that thread to start on this fastener here. Now I know the idea here is you really do want this to be somewhat tight without being overly tight. Let me see if that's too tight. Doesn't seem to be, but you don't want any wobble side to side with that barrel. Let me go one more. Yeah, I think that's going to be too much. Yeah, that's binding. So let me back off to that last. So there. This is, you know, this is one of the marks of a really finely made gun in any realm, either air guns or powder burners, like I like to say here. But if you have one of these screws with another locking screw in there, that's just attention to detail that you just don't see in many guns these days. See, I have the screwdriver I stuck in my pocket that I use for that. So once you get the main screw set where you want it, then you put this locking screw in, and the main screw has little hollows cut out around its perimeter where this locking screw will go in and hold that from being able to rotate. And so I don't know if we can get that on a close up there. So that's the barrel's back on. Paint's still looking pretty good. What do we got next? I guess the action just needs to go back into the stock. I don't believe I did need to take that bottom piece off after all, but you live and learn, right? So we've got a lock washer and an action screw. I'll get them all started, and then once I get all four started into the body, then I'll go back through and snug them up. This seems like something you really don't want to over tighten too much. There's not much behind the plastic supporting the tension of the screw. The lock washer's still in that hole. That's why I only had 3 out there on the table. That feels good. There's no wobble in the barrel. So last thing is to get the safety back in place. Safety knob. There's two screws here with Allen's head screws in here. Lime flavored sparkling water, giving me the the burps a little bit, okay, and the last piece that I probably didn't have to take off at all is this little butt cap here. 5-foot long sheetrock screw. Get a different screw here. That one's a little bit wide for that screw head. Okay. So I don't know what this tag is doing on here. Piece of string from a tag, I mean. Get rid of that. So there we go. There is pretty nicely restored Weihrauch HW70. Did pretty much obscure the lettering that was on there that said Beeman right there and HW70. If you look at it in the right light, you can still catch it, but it was very shallow, and I didn't put a huge coat of paint on there, but it pretty much disappeared. But that's not a big deal. Safety's working good, so cock it and the safety automatically comes on. I don't have a manual for this one. I know that some other springers that I have say you should not dry fire them, so I'm assuming that this one might fall under the same boat, but I'm just going to shoot this towards my target box and shooting where I pointed. So there you go, all back together. Overall, very nicely cosmetically restored. It didn't need anything as far as didn't need anything really as far as mechanical goes. It was working perfectly good. It just seems like it was just the outside portions that got damp somehow or whatever, improperly stored. The box shows a little bit of water damage problems as well, but everything inside was perfectly fine. Even inside the sight hood, inside the barrel, everything underneath the stock, nothing showed any other kind of delamination or any problems like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and set this thing aside for tonight and let that paint harden up a little bit more before I do any more heavy-duty torquing on it. But it's pretty well dried already. I took it inside and actually laid it across one of my heat registers for my coal stove, and that really accelerated the hardening of that paint, so it turned out pretty good. But all right, let me bring you back up eye level for a minute. So there you go. That wasn't too hard. A lot easier to tear down than I was expecting. I definitely tore a couple of parts that were a lot more complicated than that, but it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. For the amount of money I paid for them, these are usually, I'm seeing them selling for three and up, and I paid less than $100 for this one as it was, and now it's, it's never going to be a 300 and up gun, but it's definitely more than $100 and below gun, so pretty happy with that. So anyway, there you go. The Weihrauch, Weihrauch. I got Weihrauch in my mind. I've been saying that for, I've had a couple of Weihrauch and now Weihrauch guns for, I've had a couple of 22s. Well, I had the HW660M for probably 4 years now, and I bought the HW52 back in 2019, so I've had that one for several years as well. But this is my first Weihrauch air gun. It's not going to be my last one, I can guarantee that, because I just bought one today. But you guys will have to wait to see that. So I bought a beautiful Weihrauch rifle, and you'll know more about that in the days coming up soon. But anyway, hope you guys liked the video. If you did, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, and you'll get notified when I do post up new videos, which I'm trying to do on a regular basis. Appreciate you guys watching my videos, and the channel's growing great. So anyway, we'll cut this one off. Wow, 19 minutes, holy smokes. It didn't seem like it took that long, but it's a worthwhile effort. So thank you for watching to the end. Have a great day.